listening. So blame it on my
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is José María Manzano. I'm the director of the School of Architecture of the University of Granada. When 3 weeks ago, María Encarnación, the professor of the University of Granada, organizing this event, got in touch with us to see if we could be part of this presentation of this book by Raúl, by El Niño de las Pinturas, we were very happy to be part of it, because our school has a vocation to be part of the city and part of the quarter of El Realejo. And this quarter, El Realejo, where Raúl lives, has a lot to do with his work. We have all said once, at least, if walls could speak. And in this particular case, I think that walls do speak when we see the paintings of Raúl. This is a wonderful edition. This book is wonderfully edited, and I'm very happy to have it. And hopefully you will all enjoy this event. Thank you very much for your presence here. And I want to give the floor to María Encarnación Cambil, Senior Lecturer of the University of Granada. She is going to continue delivering our introduction. Good evening. I want to welcome everybody today to this wonderful space of the School of Architecture of the University of Granada. And hello to all of you following us through streaming. I want to thank José María Manzano from the School of Architecture that has made it possible for this event to take place here. The world is dark, light your path is the title of this book that we're introducing today. So we want to thank all the members of the faculty. I want to thank Raúl for inviting me to share with you this very important moment for him in the presentation, in the public presentation of the book. Thank you, Raúl. Thank you for counting on me. By having this book in my hands, what I first thought about was about the tremendous effort carried out by the author of the book and all the people that cooperated with him to make it possible. In these strange times that we're living, when we are reminded of the difficult situation we're living, in this time of seclusion where we have been isolated, we have gone back to books. Books have found us free through our hands. And we have been reminded that the whole world can fit in one single page of a book. So this happens when the world is dark. You have to light your path. The title is very, very important now in these times of pandemic that we're living. And it fosters reflection with open hands. The author of the book provides us in first person the chronicle of his life in the last 15 years. So we find a beautiful package of remembrances, of experiences, of different things that he has gone through. But it is not only a book that can be considered as a beautiful object, but it can also be regarded as the holder
of a corpus on street art and graffiti. But it's something else. It is something novel as well. It is another new step ahead in the analysis of this of graffitis. The artist provides us with a chronicle of his production in the last 15 years, making a kind of small biography, so to say, through his work, by giving an account, providing us with an account of what has happened in the last 15 years, with the music that was going on in the process, the artists he cooperated with, the text that he decided to include, the vital experience, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. And he provides us with the keys that are very important to understand any artist regarding what are the elements that include his imagery. He provides us with the work in his workshop as illustrator and designer. We can see how he shows his solidarity, his critical spirit, his sense of community, his respect for heritage, his interest for making visible categories that are not visible, such as the elderly, etc. Many things. This makes it possible for us to come closer to his work as an artist from different perspectives. And besides, it makes this book a primary source that is very valuable for those of us who are studying the work of El Niño de las Pinturas, so that we can analyze more in depth the whole corpus of street art and graffiti. There's not a lot more than I can add about Raúl as an artist, but as a researcher of his work, I can show my predilection, obviously, and it is not exaggerated to say that he thinks by drawing. He always said that he wanted to draw since he was a kid. Picasso said that we continue to be an artist as we go up. This is part of the history of Raúl himself. When we analyze his work, regardless of the perspective, we see that he is a plastic artist that is full of sentiment, of feelings, without any borders, using all kinds of techniques and support. And he attacks a variety of topics. He's a fertile and constant artist. He's always active and he's always searching for new topics that show emotions, sensitivity, generosity, and overcoming adversities, etc. All this is seen in the pages of the book that we see here today. Stefan Zweig would say, books are written to join human beings and to defend ourselves against the futility of existence. And you have managed to achieve that, Raúl, with this book. If we close our eyes and we see that many years have gone by, in the shelves we will find your books, and in the memory of everybody your work will prevail. So congratulations. And now I will give the floor to Joaquín Carmona. Joaquín Carmona is a doctor in theory of literature and comparative art. He has taught in the universities in China, South Korea, and Lithuania. He has published several books of poems, and he has been awarded the Federico García Lorca Award of the University of Granada, the Poetry Award of the University of Seville, and the Juan Alcaide Award. He's also a member of the Riders of the Apocalypse collective. Joaquín, yours is the floor. Thank you. I want to thank the university and the organization and everybody here. I will try to be brief. As a poet and as a researcher on poetry, I would like to underline the political and lyrical dimension of El Niño de las Pinturas. If we look for the definition of poetry in the dictionary of Spanish language, we see that it is the manifestation of beauty or aesthetic sentiment through words in verse or prose. I prefer the Encyclopedia Britannica definition: literature that evokes the imaginative awareness of an experience, of an emotional response through a language that has been chosen through the meaning, the sound, and the rhythm. Wonderful definition. I think that the second one is much more precise and beautiful, but in both cases, the work of El Niño de las Pinturas is full of poetry everywhere. According to literary studies, lyric means an interpretation of human beings and the world. Some of the lyrical expression manifestations are the instant situation, the brief sense of nature, musicality. All these things can be seen in his work. Even musicality. This is a wide concept, of course. It involves rhythm, repetition, pauses, tone, the combination of visuality and other elements. The origin of poetry is an oral one. It is fully communicative, and poetry was born so that somebody could listen to it. It was written on the walls, but it makes sense when there is a receiver, a person who is receiving this poetry. It only makes sense, it only becomes art when somebody is there listening to it. Because this is a function, of course. Poetry, just as graffitis that can be seen in this book, that can be seen around this area in the city, have a social nature. And magic involves interpretation. Any work of Raúl, just as any poem, may bring about different feelings in different readers or observers. Because it is not only a personal experience, but it's rather a shared experience. This is the value of lyrics, graffiti in general, and the work of Raúl in particular. In a time when the value of things was given by the practical nature of it, we can still transform the vision of reality more than any other official means of communication. So we can be fortunate of enjoying a great graffiti tradition in Granada, in particular with the work of El Niño de las Pinturas, which is the one that we are dealing with today. A highly poetic and socializing work. It keeps awareness alive, and it makes us reflect on different topics. Thank you, Dr. Carmona. And now we give the floor to Aitor Prado. Aitor was born in Casería de Montijo quarter of Granada. In 1994, he cooperates with the first underground rap in Granada with the Royal Academy of Verse, and he belongs to this band till they stopped their work, and then he started working in Hora Zulu, a different band. He would play in 500 gigs at least. In the summer of 2014, he creates another band, Pangloss, but it is the excuse to give voice again to his lyrics. He also carries out different other activities. He is passionate for reading and writing, both in verse and prose, and he is absolutely in love with his job, being a gardener. Next time that I carry out a biography, and thank you for telling me these beautiful words. I met Raúl in 1995-96, and at that time I was already an admirer of Raúl's work. We liked what was being done in the walls in Granada. He was the biggest at the time. He was sex. He was very popular. I come as whenever I can as a friend to Granada to do interesting things, such as cooperating with him in this book. For those of us that were interested in Raúl's figure, we wanted him to tell us more. We wanted him to tell us about any piece that he would mention. Probably there was no white space for more things in the book, but we wanted everybody to be able to learn about Raúl in 40-50 years' time. He does not tell us a lot of things in interviews, etc., so at least we will have the book. I think it's wonderful to have it. Reading what he used to say and collaborating with him has been tremendous. I'm really happy. Thank you for that, Raúl. I'm especially proud of being here in this room of the university. Joaquin, Raúl, Rambo, people that met on the street, and we carry out street art in different fashions, and we are in this university environment, which is very, very special. We were not the official artists, so to say, but we were in love with graffiti, and people do not know the price of paint, of the paint that they use. And it is now, finally, when this is being acknowledged by the authorities. Now Raúl is on the newspapers. People know about the book, how he has painted in New York, in South Africa, in many places where he was acknowledged, and he was there providing them with art. I was in Cacería de Montijo, in the area where I was born. I still live, and I saw young people, old people, and they were looking at the art that were being given to them. This was great, and we should be happy about that, how people actually acknowledge the art. Where there was a white wall, now there is a beautiful bird, and everybody enjoys it, and this is great. I could tell you a million things, but I haven't written them down because I'm very lazy, but I want to thank you. The book is wonderful. I think it is a wonderful gift. It is very well done. There are many pictures of his work, and there's a lot to read in the book. There are two more people to speak, so I will stop here. Thank you. And now we have Alfonso Martínez Cánovas. He's from Granada, but originally from Catalonia. He has devoted his life to traveling, gastronomy, cuisine, and street art. He is a collector. He owns a Banksy. He has traveled around the world, and he has been closing links with different institutions, and he will enter the meeting through a video. Whenever we are ready, we will hear and we will listen and see the video.
Hello, my name is Alfonso. I want to thank everybody for having me here in the presentation of the book. The World is Dark, Light Up, you're part of it. So I want to say hello to the ones in the audience and the ones following us through internet. Due to the COVID situation, I won't be able to be there physically, but it was great to at least send a video and be able to join Raúl today. I don't know whether he's on this side or the other side anyway, but he was very kind to give me this opportunity, although he knows that I don't like these events very much. I'm here because I'm his friend. I met Raúl in 1997 in an exhibition that took place in Los Escolapios School here in Granada. He painted a dragon. It was wonderful with the type of paint that we had at that time. It was very different from the one that we have now. It was wonderful what he did. And you could see then that this was something that he would be good at. His shop was the first shop to specialize in this type of painting. He had all the adequate tools to do the graffitis. He brought materials that were not available anywhere else in that time. We're speaking about graffiti spray cans, graffiti markers, t-shirts, magazines, etc. This shop that he had, then he moved to a different place, but he always tried to be at the avant-garde of the movement of graffiti painting. He was also very much involved in acquiring the permits for painting. We managed to have walls to be used that normally wouldn't be available, and it was great what he did about that. We talked to the town council, we talked to the right people, to any kind of people in the town council to obtain the permits. He was one of the members of the first generation, and this is very important as well, that attempted in Granada the situation in which the walls would not be covered, would be visible with the graffitis on. And when you talk to people from other cities, bigger cities, they are envious because it is not normal to find places that have been like that for so many years. In some cases for 15 years, for instance. He was very much involved in putting up an association of graffiti painters. And it was also a great thing. He has always been related to the movement of graffiti painting. Later on, I had the opportunity to be a tourist guide that would show the itinerary of the paintings of Raúl all around the city. And to me, being a friend of him was fantastic because I could enjoy every minute of it, showing his paintings to everybody and explaining what he did and seeing how they valued the work of Raúl. He took pictures with the audience that enjoyed the paintings, and I was part of it because I had been joining him in some painting, and it was something that made me very proud. And a very special day was when I was in New York. I was in Chinatown. I was trying to find my way around, and all of a sudden I saw his signs, the typical signs that determine that this is a painting by Raúl. And I saw García Lorca on the wall, and he had painted that García Lorca painting in New York, and that was wonderful. It was great.
Thank you, Alfonso. You have been very close to us, even though you were not here. And now we'll give the floor to the protagonist of this evening, Raúl, El Niño de las Pinturas. Sex. Well, he does not need any introduction, but obviously we have to give some information about him. He was born in Madrid, but he actually was raised in Zaidín quarter in Granada. He now lives in Realejo quarter in Granada. His quarter is found in the canvas, in the corners and the buildings of the whole part of the city. In his work, the human figure, both in childhood and adolescence, are very relevant. We highlight the expression of the faces, fear, sadness, etc. They are faces with an attitude. His style is captivating us. And behind the painting, we see a connection with this street itself. This is not fashionable graffiti, it's true street art. His style combines painting with text. which is typical for street art, and he has managed to obtain his own way of doing this. He's one of the most international artists in the area. His work is part of the history of Realejo, and there are tourists that come looking for his work, looking for more social justice, sensitivity towards the elderly, and respect for the children, or things like flamenco. His work has soul. Not everybody can say that about every artist. So here you have now today El Niño de las Pinturas. Hello, good evening. Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you that are seeing this or watching this through the internet. I'm very, very happy. I have very people I love around me, and many people that are close to me. And this is a child that has been born. The book is a new child. I have been trying to release this book for 7 or 8 years now, but it's been a very difficult job. When gathering all the images and the whole story, it's been very complex to select those that would be in the book. The first draft had almost 2,000 pictures. This is a thick book, so it would be like 4 times this. So we had to get rid of many things. We have left for my personal books many things to show other ones, and it's been difficult, but it's been something that was very important, because I went back through the old memories. It has to do with life. We go to places, we meet people, we enter stories and connections and links, and this is imagery. So when we drafted the book, it all came to mind. You have to remember again, you have to rearrange them. It's been a beautiful work. I want to thank them because they have been very helpful. When I write, I am quite tough and not very trained, and they have helped me a lot. I want to thank them here. No, you didn't need that much help. It is true. If I would show you the first drafts of the book, we have had at least 7 to 10 drafts. In the first ones, the texts were terrible. My brother was the first one that read it, David, which cannot be here today. The first time I gave him the draft, he said, "Raúl, are you sure about this? There are a few things where you speak in a bit exaggerated manner. There are many things that I wanted to say with this book that I then realized that it's better to tell them on the wall." This is very personal, finally, but it is also something that has gone through different processes, and it's a very elegant work. So please give a round of applause to them because they helped me. So it has some funny issues. We are in the 21st century, so we have found a new trick. So the book, I want to thank Marcia because she came. She has translated the book into English. So thank you, Marcia. So instead of including the English text in the book, we have a QR code, and with this code you can go to the PDF version of the book in English, 50 pages or so. So including this would be too much. I got rid of many pictures, and then it would be a whole mess if we put the English there. So we decided to have access to the English version through the QR code. And the other QR code is to link with other things, with pictures that have a symbol, kind of a play symbol. And every time you have a small play symbol, you have a video that is associated to that. So when you scan the QR, you go to the list, to the playlist, and you see the video, number 1, number 2, etc. They are all arranged by pages and figures, etc. So it's very nice. So we have 8 pictures here, and we have half an hour to 40 minutes of pictures, all commented, where were they taken, the dates, everything. And I think that this provides us with many more information, with a lot more information, sorry. And I was helped to carry out the portrait of Camarón de la Isla. But with the play, we see the video, and you see the way things were done. It's much more visual. So I do invite you to take a look at the book and watch the videos as well. There are 40 videos included, and I think that's all. So how are we doing with time? I don't have a watch. What time is it? We're okay. So what we're going to do, if you want, we're going to have a round for questions, if you want. Other microphones over there? Do you have a mic? So people coming to the event might have questions, so this is the right time to do so. So raise your hands if you want to ask something. Somebody here. Okay, this gentleman here. Juan Carlos Mariano, he helped us do this as well. Was there any image that was difficult to obtain because it was complex, because of the graffiti type, or because this is a very complex issue? Yes, there are many pieces that I wanted to include them because they were relevant, because they were interesting. But then the pictures were not very good. Sometimes you bring good camera, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you do it in the daytime, other times you do it in the evening. And there are some works that I had to resort to colleagues. For instance, I can remember one in particular. There was a tribute to Dalí in Barcelona. I painted with two colleagues from Barcelona, and I had the picture of my piece, all right, but the picture of the whole wall was a late picture, and it was a side view, and I was sent the picture by a different colleague, and this happened several times. The good thing is that I finally had the opportunity to include it, but some others had to be taken away. When was your first contact with the spray, with the Swiss tool? I have been drawing in paper for many years, and somebody came to my class, and he was from the Netherlands, and he also wanted graffiti. He also liked the graffitis. No, he's not popular. So we started to sign Rap Funny. So one day we decided to paint a real graffiti. So we went to the shop and we got the spray. It was reasonably cheap. It took us a week to get all the colors. So we decided to go and face the wall. We didn't know how to paint it. How did we do it? With thick material that we took from school, and then we use shoe polish to highlight it. And so when we had the shoe polish and everything, we were going to paint the wall, and all of a sudden everything was gone. It was erased. What happened? So we said, okay, no problem. Let's go somewhere else. So we went to another wall. So when we started painting, the police came and we were scared. So we started running. We hit the wall, the cans, the spray cans there, and when we came back, we were stolen the spray cans. A real chaos. It was a real chaos. Terrible. Then the second job was to paint precisely that wall. And when talking about the budget, was very young. He said, well, a few years ago, a few kids came and they started painting, and I erased it. And he started laughing, and I said, oh, this was the guy that erased this painting. So I charged him twice what I wanted to charge because of that. There's somebody else here. Have you been erased many things the day after? In Plaza de la Trinidad, we painted one. Chicle, another graffiti painter, painted it, and then at 7 o'clock he took a picture, and right after it was stolen. It didn't last more than 2 hours. The neighbors complained. Sometimes it was the municipality itself. In Juan Pablo II Street, I asked for permission to paint a wall. I was given the permit. When I painted it, when I was finishing, a group of unemployed people that are hired to paint walls with cheap painting, and they were erasing it. I went there and I stopped them, but they had erased almost the whole thing. So I repainted it. I want to ask about the pieces that have an animation. Is this a reading that you have done, or what have you done with it? Animation is something that has been there for a while. Some time ago, I had a friend, and we had a friend called Lucas Carrillo. We did music videos. So animation is something that I like. But when I learned about this, is one of the guests here today that helped me with this. But I like it with graffitis. Animate the graffitis is something interesting. And I think I'm going to do it a lot. It's very interesting. Even painting, I'm painting something, and I imagine them moving. So the fact that you can actually do it with technology is a real luxury. It's wonderful. Hello. Your art is a volatile type of art. Ephemeral, yeah. It's ephemeral. You don't know how long it's going to be there. Is there any piece that you would need to repaint or reproduce? The giraffe, yeah, the giraffe in Realejo. Something that was not thought. Sometimes I prepare my job a lot more than you can imagine. But this in particular just was coming back from a friend's house, and with a single can, I painted that. And this is the last thing I painted. It was erased twice at least, and I have done it several times again, because I think it was not so disturbing. It's unfair. So if you paint a really whitewashed wall, it is quite logical that somebody erased it. But when you go to a place that is so miserable, so destroyed, and you provide something that is different, and they want to do something there because you use that to do something beautiful, and there are many other things that should be arranged before that. So I was really angry. The original owner of the house liked it a lot. So I've painted them several times again, with the yellow cat as well. There's a bar in the quarter where I go a lot, and it has a fountain in front, and I have drunk a lot of wine in the fountain, and with the wine and the cigarettes, I said, there's a cat there. So when after the years I painted the cat, it was a bit difficult with no instruments to help me, etc. But I think it was there for only 2 or 3 months. The cat was only there for 2 or 3 months. It was not disturbing anybody. If it becomes shouting meow, just give them something to eat. And in the United States, I painted that twice. So the cat came with me on the trip to New York. Probably there's some psychological damage there. Yeah. 2 questions. You were raised in Granada. You were raised in Granada, and you started developing your work in this city. How much of Granada is there in your work? If you had been born or raised in a different place, it would be different. Yes, of course. I've been painting for 10 years until I have found my style, my way of telling things. And it is something that has to do with Granada. There was a time when I only used brown, the white of washed areas. It is the color of the houses in Granada. My style was born here because I lived here. If I had been living in a different place, it would have been different. It would have been a different thing altogether. And another question. Is there any topic, any aspect that you hate to paint that you had to do because you were paid for it? And you said, I hate painting a car, an elephant. No, it's easier than that. When I was young, nobody told me how to do things. So everybody was working for 8 hours, so I was working for 8 hours as well. So I have painted 3 times the logo by Coca-Cola, 3 times. That was ages ago in the 1990s in different discotheques. Please, can you paint the Coca-Cola logo? So it was very easy, but I didn't like it. So this, with time, it's very destructive. So using my skill to earn my living so terribly, it almost destroyed me from the inside. So when I started using my style, it's because I had been working for many people, doing things that you couldn't care less, and some of them you are against them, and you do it because of the money, and then you want to paint with the colleagues in the weekend and you don't feel like it. So you say, what's going on? So doing those things that I wouldn't like is probably what took me to do what I really like. What would you like to paint that you haven't done? Because do you have a dream in that sense? Yes, the dam in Rules, yeah. There's a guy that painted a dam and I think this is something that I would do. I would talk to somebody who works for the water authority about this, and I almost achieved it. And then Spain entered the crisis. It was 2008, I think. And we talked about this dam. It has hundreds of square meters, and it will be incredible. So maybe one day, who knows? The wall of the town council, no. In the 15th of March, I was painting a few things there. I painted a few things there, yeah. Yeah, this was something that it was Granada who gave me this. I met somebody who's called Deriche. He used to work in Elvira Street in the coffee houses there, and for a few bucks he would write your name in Arabic. So he was the one who started introducing me to Arabic calligraphics. The letters are actually drawings in Arabic. They have movement. So probably the fact that I was with this guy working on this, so it helped me to carry out this calligraphic aspect of my painting. Yes. Granada again, yeah. So coming back to the concept of how people see these things, do you think there will come a time when this type of art is seen just as painting, sculpture, etc., or humanity will come to an end before that? This is what we have to look for when humankind is going to disappear. Now, seriously, what we're doing now is something that has to do with things that have happened before. The murals from Mexico is beautiful, and there are very popular artists there. But what we do is probably too free for the system we're living, and they want to support this because it's fantastic, but they don't like it to be so free. So all the time they try to restrict it. It's wonderful that everybody paints together, and I paint with somebody who's starting and somebody else by my side has been there for many years. This is wonderful. This is what I like. Festivals used to be like that. You painted somewhere and everybody was painting in the same wall. But in the last few years, what we see now is that we have the exhibitions, so to say. Each artist has his own wall. So this artist will paint here, this other one will paint there, etc. And in the end, the experience is not the same. And the team spirit disappears. It is graffiti is a family. So it builds the ego because I'm the artist, etc. But we always wanted the wall to be fine. It has to be beautiful with the whole set of paintings there. And these things take you to what has been done with anything else. The system intends to assimilate everything, and it tends to destroy what they don't like. Maybe someday more walls will be painted than maybe canvases. Who knows? We're sorry, but the microphone is not being used. Yes, but they are they're very intelligent. It's not by chance that this happens. Yes. I have been painting for 30 years on the street. Do you think I should answer somebody asking because somebody says, "I love you, Mary." When I see "I love you, Mary," I like it. I like it because I like it. But why should I answer to anybody because of those people that are doing this? So in general, this collective that is becoming so popular, they don't want them to be famous. So that's why my question. That's why I asked that question. Yes, Brian, the life of Brian. Yes, the Roman is painting the wall. Yeah. The last question. Because yeah. Okay. So when you paint the small letters within the shadows of the painting, this is beautiful. It's like a labyrinth. So what is he saying there? Maybe I